So after nearly 2 years of the economic lockdown where it was nearly impossible to travel to Vietnam, Vietnam is ready to take back the new global market share. So welcome back to Vietnam. This is our 2023 Vietnam Economic Outlook, where we want to share with you that Vietnam is a great place to invest and not just amazing people. So first, we will talk to you about the overall economic conditions. Second, about the investment climate in Vietnam. Third, the economic and key drivers of Vietnam's growth. Fourth are the new laws, taxes, and treaties that will impact the investment into Vietnam. And then finally, we will show you what are the first steps you need to take to invest into Vietnam. So let's get started. So hello, my name is Ken Duong, international immigration business attorney with over 14 years of experience helping individuals, companies invest all over the world, including United States, Portugal, Grenada, Vietnam, Thailand, Singapore, and 15 other countries around the world. But before I get into the topic today, I want to make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel and also comment below and click on the bell for notifications for all the information about residency, investing, and travel around the world. So coming out of the pandemic, Vietnam's GDP growth grew at 8% in 2022 to a total of $440.6 billion. Within that, the GDP purchasing power parity for Vietnam has grown dramatically to $1.56 trillion. And thus, it stands for the GDP per capita in 2022 was $4,110. That is a significant growth in the standard of living, the monies, and also the productivity of the country. So some of the other factors that have led to the growth of Vietnam, even in light of the pandemic, is the growing middle class, the consumption patterns, the friendly business environment, and also, of course, the great people that live here in Vietnam. Another factor that Vietnam exhibited its growth due to the control of the inflation rate, which stood still at 3.5%. So that allows for growth of Vietnam steadily due to prudent monetary policies and control of the inflation rates. So remember that we have just been through a recession for the last 3 years. So those numbers are remarkable. So what kind of numbers can we expect in 2023? So if you look at the GDP per capita, it will grow about 7.2% up to 4,400 GDP per capita. Also, the inflation rates, unfortunately, will not be fully under control because there's a growth need. So it'll be about 6% in 2023 with a rolling average of 23-24 to about 5.5%. So with respect to foreign direct investments, in 2022, Vietnam had $22.5 billion of foreign direct investment, and it's expected to be between $36 to $38 billion of foreign direct investment for 2023. So what are some of the trends that are happening right now in Vietnam? The first area is regarding manufacturing, imports and exports. Vietnam is being poised as a manufacturing hub of the world after China, but due to the US-China trade war, many of the large companies have to move their manufacturing out of China and looking at other places. Vietnam has a strategic location, it has low labor costs, and the laws have changed to increase the business-friendly environment for companies to invest in Vietnam. For example, Samsung has one of the largest manufacturing facilities in the world in Vietnam right now. Also, Apple has moved their manufacturing of the iPads and the MacBooks to Vietnam. Moreover, many of companies that have invested in long-term in manufacturing, such as Intel, LG, and many of the other electronics. And of course, you have to look at some of the main staples of Vietnam, such as garment manufacturing, different medical devices and products, and other goods as well. One of the main staples of manufacturing industries of Vietnam has always been textiles. So Vinatex and Vitronics are organizations that help with the textile, garment, and electronic industry in Vietnam. And it's been developed for a long time and it will continue to develop, such as leather, footwear, textile, garments, and other related areas that improve the supply chain. But also Vietnam is looking to produce raw materials and be suppliers. Instead of buying from China, they'll produce it here in Vietnam, such as the yarn. With the strength of the textile and garment industry, Vietnam is also trending to build their own fashion brands, fashion companies such as Six Do or Twee Design or Eva the Eva and some of these other up-and-coming brands for the global market. If you're in that particular industry, definitely look at fashion and supply chain dealing with fashion to build your global brand. The second industry trend is regarding tourism. Vietnam in 2023 is expected to host 8 million people with an economic impact of $27.5 billion. So I am standing here in District 1 at Ben Thanh Market, which is one of the key tourism spots in Vietnam. As you know, many of the areas are not developed evenly for tourism. So some of the remote areas will have less tourism and may have never even seen international tourists. However, in Ho Chi Minh City, Hanoi, Da Nang, Cần Thơ, and many of the bigger cities, they're very used to having 5-star luxury hotels, 4-star travels, and also food and amenities for people when they come here to Vietnam. So looking at the economic trend and the development of tourism-related services, hospitality, and of course, drinks and coffee as well. Ken Coffee, we have networking every single Friday to make sure that you have a place to come in Ho Chi Minh City, get to know some of our friends, some of the staff, and also get some tips on how to travel around Vietnam. So we look forward to hosting you at Ken Coffee. The third industry that is growing in Vietnam is regarding e-commerce. The e-commerce industry has grown 16.3% from $9.4 billion to $17.3 billion in 2022. And it will continue to grow due to the growth. It's mainly due to the alternative payment solutions online. And the biggest company or unicorn in Vietnam is Momo, which is very similar to Apple Pay, and then followed by Viettel Pay and Zalo Pay. So one concrete example of a technology company that just started and is growing is called Shop D. It's a locally grown Vietnamese company that uses blockchain technology, virtual reality, artificial intelligence, big data, AI-driven, and slew of other technologies that allow it to create a platform with unlimited discounts and also hidden prices. This allows for this technology company to really sell online, increase their product, and also get products to the users very efficiently. And it's possibly going to be a unicorn, we don't know, but it will expand all their offerings into home apparels, consumer goods, consumer electronics, and probably start carrying everything that you need. So definitely take a look at a company called Shop D for the future if you're looking to be an innovative technology company or looking for the next unicorn to invest in. Another key driver of the growth in Vietnam is regarding the healthcare sector. So the healthcare sector has grown by 25% from $4.7 billion to $6.6 billion in 2022. So if you're looking at a few of the reasons why, number one is the growing demand. Vietnam is a growing population and the youth are becoming more health conscious, and therefore they are utilizing the healthcare systems earlier and more often than before. The second reason is government support. The government recognizes the importance of healthcare and thus has built new technologies and infrastructure, such as building new hospitals and making government reforms in the healthcare sector. And finally, the third reason is improving access. Due to the investments in the expansion of the healthcare system and into new technologies, more of the rural areas are having better access to healthcare. This has resulted into the increased demand of healthcare services in Vietnam. The fifth trend in Vietnam is the growth of agriculture and agribusinesses. Vietnam is one of the largest producers of agricultural products in the world, including coffee, rice, and rubber. In fact, Vietnam's export in 2022 of agricultural products increased to $60 billion and exported to key markets around the world, such as the United States, Japan, China, and other parts of Europe. In fact, Vietnam is the number 2 producer of coffee in the world out of the top 10 producers, including 2 of the top ones such as Highlands and Trung Nguyen Coffee. Moving over to the milk sector, Vina Milk is one of the largest dairy products producers and exporters in Vietnam, and they have made international expansions around the world in order to increase their business as well. And finally, infrastructure development in Vietnam has been growing and has been a focus of the government, especially in transportation, power, and communications. Vietnam allocated in 2023 over $20 billion to focus on the development of these three particular areas, and we'll go into specific details of the different regions and the different roads around Vietnam. In the Mekong Delta region, there's the National Traffic Highway Project that will build the Mỹ Thuận 2 bridge connecting Tiền Giang and Vĩnh Long provinces. Through this bridge and other infrastructure developed in the area, it will connect the south, which is Ho Chi Minh, to the Mekong Delta region and allow for faster transport, easier access, and also the cars can travel for tourism as well. So this is one of the biggest projects and developments in the Mekong Delta. It will also increase in transports, both land and sea, for the Mekong Delta, bringing goods from there to the ports in Ho Chi Minh City and even Hanoi as well. So in Ho Chi Minh City, there's a major infrastructure development project called the Ring Road 3, which is 76 kilometers and passes through Ho Chi Minh City and three main economic regions, that is Bình Dương, Long An, and Đồng Nai, will connect these four provinces together in the south. The project will start in mid-2023 and is expected to be completed at the end of 2025, which will help with easing the traffic jams in Ho Chi Minh City and also access to these three main provinces of economic development in Vietnam. That is something that we're definitely looking forward to. And of course, as I'm standing here in the center of Lê Lai in District 1, as you can see, there are no more barriers at all in Lê Lai Street. The stores are opened again. The #1 metro line in Ho Chi Minh City is right below us, and the station as well. So that is a huge development over 10 years in the making, and should be able to have access to that metro line and rails within the next 1 to 2 quarters. So the next segment of our Vietnam Economic Outlook is looking at the international agreements that have been put in place in order to increase trade and business with Vietnam and other countries. And this is where it all gets started. We are here in front of the People's Committee of Ho Chi Minh City, this amazing French colonial building right here in District 1. So Vietnam has signed an agreement with Korea, the Vietnam-Korea Dual Goals Agreement, with the intention of international trade between the two countries to be over $100 billion in the coming years. In June 2019, the European Union and Vietnam signed the EU-Vietnam Free Trade and Investment Protection Agreement, and also in February 2022, it was ratified. This agreement will allow for Vietnamese companies to export rice, textile, garments, seafood, and other products from Vietnam to the European Union. And the EU has become the fifth investor into Vietnam as for 2023. This will allow to attract more foreign direct investment from the EU to Vietnam. And also some of the new laws that have been implemented in order to increase the investment climate in Vietnam. One of those big areas is in the import of software and hardware for the IT equipment and infrastructure development. So if you're an international IT company looking to bring products into Vietnam, you'll get it at a lower tax rate and it can be cheaper for the consumer market in Vietnam. The second new change in the law is during the pandemic period, the VAT or value-added tax was decreased from 10% down to 8% in order to help various businesses lower their tax liability. But as of 2023, that has been increased back to 10%, which means that the businesses are thriving again and thus they can pay more taxes. Now that we have provided you the investment climate, the conditions, economics in Vietnam, also the trends and the new laws that are impacting the investment climate. So as an entrepreneur or as an investor, what should you do to take advantage of this great opportunity to invest into Vietnam? So we highly recommend as an entrepreneur, investor, or individuals of Vietnamese descent to really take a look at Vietnam right now. But as always, we want to recommend that you go for 6 months, visit Vietnam first, find some partners, talk to some industry experts to get a better understanding of your short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals investing into Vietnam. So at Duong Global, we have a team of experts on immigration, business and tax that can help you identify the right business opportunities, set up your company, and also look at some of the franchising or licensing opportunities that we have at brands such as GS25, Alman Spa, Barcodes, or Ken Coffee, and many other retail businesses that you may be interested in looking at. Now we believe it is the time to invest into Vietnam. So if you want to know how to open a company, to send your money to Vietnam, find joint venture partners, draft the legal documents, make sure that you contact us via our Facebook Messenger, our email, or calling our hotline, and we'll be happy to help you with that process. So on behalf of Duong Global, my name is Ken Duong. Thank you very much for watching this video. And as always, make sure you like our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube channel, comment what you want to hear or know about the Vietnam economic outlook, and of course click on the bell for notifications of all upcoming videos. So thank you very much for watching this video, and we expect to see you in many of the other videos that we'll be making throughout 2023.